What's up, everybody? Films of the day here. You know the drill by now. Let's do this. I don't have much news. It's only been a day. But hey, the Rangers have still won the World Series. It is not the title has not been revoked within the past 24 hours, so that's a positive thing. There's no reason that it would be, but just in terms of how I'm feeling about the Worlds, that has not been ruined for me. So that's good. I usually don't care about baseball. I've got a good meme around here. That's just says it all. Which was my "I'm done with Texas" soul leaving my body as soon as the Rangers are in the World Series. Because, man, am I certainly happy for the part of my life in which I was in Texas, living in Texas at all times, to be behind me for the most part. But there's two things there's one thing I actually continually miss, and that's the weather. I grew up in really warm weather. That's what I was used to. It's what I was bred in. So I'm still not the hugest fan of cold weather. And then also, if the Cubs don't do well in a particular baseball season, which is most seasons, then my backup plan is to cheer for the Rangers. And so it's cool when the Rangers do cool stuff. Sorry, got a little bit of an itchy nose. Getting back into it, getting back in the swing of things. Oh, there's way less of you than I thought. That was a quicker process than I expected. Sometimes it feels like it takes 15 goddamn minutes to get through the bokoblins, and sometimes it feels like it takes 3 minutes. Here's something that I should keep in mind is once I get all the way to Gibdo, this spear is not quite as useful as I'd like it to be, and it is also never broken on me, so when we get into the more start taking on bokoblins individually stage of all this, it is considerably, once there's less, I can, like, my brain can keep track of how many bokoblins are on screen once we've reached that point. Relying on spear is way safer, just because it has range, and with the Horriblin thing, it instantly stuns them out of any attack they're charging up. It stuns them out of charges. It's good to have if you can spare, but when there's still 50 enemies on screen, I think I have not backed down from Whirligig being my best chance. Which is why I've continued to do it. But once we narrow things down, good to get the spear out. And I can probably use it sooner in this sort of thing than I have aimed to in the past, knowing that I've never... It's been a long time since I've reached the point where it has broken, and I've thought to myself, oh man, I still wish I had that specific weapon. I've got enough Knight's weapons that... Other kinds of weapons are a little less important. I think I even spotted 2 Knight's broadswords around here. No, it's the soldiers. There's Knights. And then I can go ahead and throw this bad boy out. Look around a little bit. I think he might have been standing on... Oh, wait! Hoo-wee! That's a good selection we got there. Alright. And we picked up 2 bows. Probably missed a couple arrows, but aside from that, we are doing good on our resources. And we're very intentionally, very clearly intentionally already down to 1 heart. So everything's going according to plan. You don't have to do that. The only reason you would have to do that is if you're giving me another chance to look for arrows, and I've lost track of where the archers were when I killed them. So that ain't happening. Except I'm gonna do that literally right this instant. I think I got most of them. All right. Come on. That's another one where I am skeptical that that first one shouldn't have counted. Especially because apparently the timing was too soon to count as a perfect dodge, but also perfectly timed so that I couldn't do a second dodge. That seems sketchy to me. I don't like that. Usually with those big swings, I'm trying not to. Although now that I can handle Mucktorok somewhat handily, maybe I should not be worried so much about my shields breaking, which is the main reason why I sometimes aim for perfect dodges on Big Boy as opposed to just tanking it with the shield. Nope, soldier. Oh, I saw one around here. There's one. Nope, that's a soldier. That's a chunky. You guys are all not in a row, but you're all right next to each other, huh? This is spear time. That's fine, I wanted that. That was a surgical, intentional thing. Eep. Eep. Fuck you. You almost got me there. I could feel it. Not today, though. Definitely not today. Okay, what can I throw at you to make you leave me alone? Alright, let's get to today's immunity challenge. We're saving that one. I want to use the Gibdo bones a little bit more. I don't know if they break in one hit or if I get 2 or 3 hits out of it. I could study the tapes, but I forgot to do that, and it's too late. It's too late now. So we're just gonna experiment a little bit this time. Yeah, it takes me a second to just think through everything. Yeah, let's not experiment too much. I have a plan. It'll make sense if and when I get to Queen Gibdo, but I have a plan. Ooh, what if I can get more Gibdo bones? All the better. Waste not, want not. And she's teleporting anyway, so yeah, let's just use this time to collect some more stuff. Alright, let's get into it. Oh, one last thing. Let's get a good bow on. Decent bow on. Save our damagers for good old Goma. Let me get real high up here, man. $150 arrows. That's good, right? That's better than I usually do, I think. I mean, like, as usual, it's worth noting I've never run out of arrows during this entire sequence, but I think we can probably do a little speed running of Goma at this point. If I got this much to spare. You know what else I miss from Texas? Our neighborhood had a really good park. It was huge. It was really cool. And we were also like less than a mile from a nature preserve, so I could go there really often. That was really, really nice. Now I live in the city. I know it's not just a Texas thing. Now it's because I live in the city. I don't have access to this. We've got some parks, but the big, really neat ones are a mile and a half away at least, which is not terrible. I like to walk, so it's not terrible, but you know, scheduling wise, it takes a lot to get there, or I can take a bus, but I don't want to have to pay to go to the park, you know? It's nice to have big parks within walking distance, and I technically have that, but the walking distance is slightly more distant than I would like. And yeah, back in Texas I had access to a lot of good green spaces. Now I live in this city where I don't have that quite as much. Actually, it might get slightly sad. Again, the only sad part about moving away from Texas. I remember visiting my parents as they were packing up, because they moved too. That's why I'm not headed back there anytime soon. They're no longer in Texas, even though that's where we grew up. I was visiting them, and they had already bought their new house, and I was visiting. I knew this was going to be one of the last times I was here while they were living here. Chance maybe to visit on my own at some point, but there's not too much reason to visit unless there's a high school reunion, and I know for sure I'll have some friends there, but even then, like, that's going to take some convincing on, I guess, other people's part. I don't know if that's the school's responsibility or my friend's responsibility, but it's... God damn it! That's what I get for talking about Texas. Okay. So don't overdo it. I had all knight's broadswords. I had 150 arrows. My supplies were great for that run. I did a really good job getting done with the Gibdo wave of the army with only, like, 3 bombs. Damn, that was a really good one. That sucks. Sucks to die in Colgera. Wish I could have at least gotten to Mucktorok. Although there's no dignity in that. There's a dignity in dying to Colgera that is fully absent with Mucktorok. Yeah, anyways, I remember visiting, and we visited the neighborhood park on while we were walking the dog. And it was while I was at that walk that I had the thought of, like, most of Texas, I'm okay to be leaving behind. This specific park that I have so many childhood memories with, it's difficult to know that this is the last time I'm going to see it. And so I said to my dad, that I was walking the dog with, I think, both to help you guys pack up all my stuff, because they still are holding on to a lot of my stuff from childhood, because I live in a rather small apartment and I don't want to give all that stuff up, and they have a very big house with a very big basement, so no need to get rid of a bunch of stuff. But they had a bunch of stuff to pack and transport from me, and so I was like, I think one last time I am going to come out here to try and visit you guys. And in my brain I was like, so that way I can say goodbye to the park one last time. And then COVID hit, and I never got to go back. And so it's really just the park is the only sad bit. But yeah, legitimately, I am sad that I did not really get to give that park a proper goodbye. God damn it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Have no connection. Actually, that's not true. At one point, when I was going into college, we had an elementary school reunion. That actually was fun. Got to revisit some of our teachers. None of them recognized me. When I said it's me, blank, I almost just said my real name, which I've done before, but I generally try to avoid. They recognized the name, but they fully were like, I could have sworn you looked different. And not in like a, you were much smaller and thus that's why you looked different kind of way. It's like you don't look like a grown-up version of the kid that I was remembering, if that makes sense. They legit were like, they remembered my name and then they saw me and they were like, nah, can't be the same person. So... yeah. But yeah, anyways, that was fun. It was good to see a lot of the classmates again because we had, I went to a different high school than most of my classmates. Yeah, absolutely no emotional connection on middle school. Probably the worst period of my life, legitimately. Fuck you. High school, I've got some good memories. Good memories of the theater program, and I have some, and by some I mean 2 friends that I kind of keep in touch with. I have plenty where, like, if I saw them again, I would be excited and be like, oh man, it's so good to see you. But in terms of, like, people that I still consider active friends, I've got 2. And even then, I need to reach out to them more and keep in touch more. I feel bad about that. The ball is in their court. Last time I was like, hey, we should call and get caught up, and they were like, oh yeah, we're busy this week, but next week I will let you know what time would work for us, and then they didn't get back to me. So in this particular instance, it is a two-way street in terms of we both should be putting in a little bit more effort, but like I said, it's not a one-way street. It's not just them. I should also be putting in more effort. I never followed up. And before you go, well, maybe that's a sign that they don't want to be friends with you. First off, no. We're all in the same age range where sometimes you don't intentionally ghost someone. You legitimately just forget that you're going to get back to them. That happens a lot with our generation. Get over it. And 2, they initiated the conversation going, how are you doing? And then I said, I'm doing great. How are you doing? Also, we should try to call sometime. And then they said, can't this week, but next week. So if they initiate the conversation, I feel like that's a very clear indication that I'm not getting intentionally ghosted by someone who doesn't want to have anything to do with me anymore. Anyways, got 2 high school friends. if I were to go visit that high school again, like, it'd be kind of fun, but I don't have, like, a huge emotional attachment to it anymore. And then there were... I have individual friends from my old church, but it's still a church in Texas. And look, when you go to a church, when you grow up in a church in Texas, and then you go to a more blue state, and you go to a church in that state, and you go, oh, this is what churches are supposed to be. This is good. This is better. Then you look back at the old church and as an institutional, like, thing, not like the entire church. Although, you know, that's all can of worms that is worth getting into, but not right now because I'm too focused on murdering bokoblins. But you look back on that specific church and you go, oh, you were being run in a way that was counterintuitive to a lot of values that I hold dear in this faith, and the church I'm currently attending does also hold those values dear. And so, in terms of the full church community from back in Texas, don't really need it. A couple of people there that I miss, and I'm like, I hope they're doing well, but most of them have also left that specific church. So actually, thinking back on it, there's one guy who still works there who I would love to one day, like, visit again and get lunch with and be like, hey, how are you doing? Everyone else, I don't know. I don't hold any grudges against them. They were all kind people, but I'm not dying to go back to visit Texas just to see that. If I were to go back to Texas, legitimately, the main reason would be to go visit the park and then, like a stalker, go see the house that I grew up in and stare at it from across the street while the people who currently live there go, what the fuck is that guy's problem? And then, well, oh no, I forgot the best thing. What am I? I'm going crazy right now. Park is probably number one. Number two, I don't live there anymore. I can be more specific. I live in the Dallas area, and goddamn, the Dallas World Aquarium is so sick. It's so good, guys. I keep talking to my friends about it, and they're all like, well, we should take if we ever go on a road trip down to Texas, we should stop at the Dallas World Aquarium. And it was one of those things of like, yeah, we might do that. And I'm like, we do have one friend who lives, we have a college friend who lives in Texas who might be getting married in the next 5 years or so. And they're all like, hey, if we take a road trip, maybe we can stop by the aquarium. And I don't know if they realize how serious I am of, no, if we take a road trip to Texas and we pass near the Dallas area, we are going to the Dallas World Aquarium. It's not an if sort of thing. That's a requirement. If I will rent my own car and go there by myself if no one else wants to. If I'm taking a road trip that gets me anywhere near the Dallas area, I'm going back to the Dallas World Aquarium one last time. And then I'll probably, since I'm somewhat nearby, I'll probably visit that park one last time. And then if I have time, which I probably won't, maybe I'll visit my high school and or my church. And I will have checked off all the boxes of any reason why I would ever go back to where I used to live. Maybe grab a lunch with that one guy from the church if he's still there, which he might not be, because he's really cool, and that specific church has been getting dumber and dumber over the past couple of years. Nah, I forgot I still had the sword out. That was silly of me. I don't know, that was a random line of thought, but that's what happens when you are playing the same part of the game over and over 300 times in a row with nothing in between. Your mind starts to wander, and sometimes random things come to you. I don't even remember. Oh, the Rangers! It was the Rangers. I was a decent fan of was I already down one heart? Why did a 2-horner kill me? That shouldn't have happened, could it? I might have miscounted my hearts, but I thought I was still at full for that life. Damn. Liked the Rangers growing up. I lived through the, what do they call it? The 2011 heartbreak. The Rangers got really close to winning, and then it got taken away from them. Don't remember the context for it, but I remember getting hyped and thinking this might be the year. And then, yeah, these past couple of years, I guess, got the best of both worlds in baseball land, because I moved to, I think this has been said on the channel multiple times, I'm in the Chicago area. Cubs fan now. Got to be in the Chicago area when the Cubs finally won the World Series, and now here I am, still considering myself a Rangers fan to an extent, and I got to be here when the Rangers won. Did I care about how the Rangers were doing until I found out they were in the World Series? Absolutely not. But once they're there, hell yeah. Let's go. Did I know a single player on the team? No, because the Cubs stole Yu Darvish from us, and then they lost him. And he was the new up and comer right around the time I stopped caring about the Rangers. So that was the one name in the lineup of Rangers that I was able to keep track of once I started caring about the Cubs. But by the time I started cheering for the Cubs, he was already gone. And then, yeah, all the other the big, Rangers lineup in a couple of years that I got invested, all retired shortly after, or shortly before. Don't even know at this point. I moved away, so clearly was not going to be winning any trivia contests on the 2023 Rangers lineup. Leclerc, he was involved. I think he's a pitcher. Was he our relief pitcher? I don't even know if he finished the game. I think we might have kept our other guy in because he was already just doing so well. I don't know, but I think I remember do I remember that pitcher's name, the one I'm talking about? No, but I think there was a Leclerc in there. I'm almost sure of it. Then the Cubs gutted their roster. Can I name any current Cubs? Yes. It just might take me a second. We got Pap. There's a Suzuki. There's a Suzuki that I can remember because I was like, someone told me yeah, we've got Suzuki. He might be good, and I was like, not Ichiro Suzuki, right? Because he was a player 20 years ago, and they were like, no, not Ichiro Suzuki. And so I can remember his name because he's not Ichiro Suzuki. And there's some other guys. Are they any good? Depends if I'm watching the game. I don't mean to say that I'm a good luck charm, but every time I watch a Cubs game, almost every time I watch a Cubs game, they win. And then it seems like whenever I don't care, all of a sudden, they start sucking. So I'm not saying I'm solely responsible for whether or not the Cubs are successful based on my watching habits, but there's a non-zero chance that's exactly what's happening. The Rangers, they don't give a fuck about me. They were winning well before I started watching them this year, and then they won while I was watching, so I'm not a bad luck charm. My brother thought he was a bad luck charm. He tuned in for a couple of games. They lost every game that he was watching, and then he said, okay, they're going to win if I don't watch. And sure enough, they started winning. Sports. I grew up never really understanding hype for sports. My mom was a big college football fan, and she always yelled at the screen. And I still don't quite get her investment level, because she attended very few games in person, and I feel like when you are watching on a TV, it's fun, it's enjoyable. It's not I don't get the same thrill out of it as when I'm watching it live. My mom absolutely does. She goes fucking nuts. Although she has mellowed over the years. I think because she realized I was like 10 years old, and I did not mouth off with my parents very much. I was not a particularly sassy child in terms of like, I had sass, but I don't know. I wasn't a jerk to my parents. I think I was a pretty good kid. College football was a point where I would like look my mom in the eyes and be like, "Mom, they can't hear you. You really need to calm down." And took her a while, but I think eventually she took that to heart. I hope I didn't ruin any of her fun. If I did, I'm sorry, Mom. But also, you were really loud, and sometimes it was legitimately while I was trying to do homework, and you were being legitimately distracting. So, I'm not that sorry. I'm a little sorry. Why does it feel like sometimes I'm swimming in Knight's Broadswords, and then sometimes there are 3 on the entire battlefield? Why does the game choose to be this way? Yeah, that is a full scour. That's what we call that. And we only have 3. We can pick up another one from Los Alphos. How many slots do we have? We have 2. So it's actually worth picking up another Royal. Just so we can put full on slots. We can pick up this guy's Royal, although we can drop it if we manage to find the Knight's Broadsword from Los Alphos, which it's sometimes a scavenger hunt. Sometimes it's difficult to spot. And yeah, should have good slots. God damn it. So last time, when I wasn't commentating, which means it won't be in the edit, I apparently didn't get the perfect dodge on the first swing, so I just started mashing the jump button, and I did get it the second time. But apparently sometimes that's still not enough. Sometimes the game just goes, oh, we have decided you mistimed that. Which is wild, because now that I've fought the Los Alphos a bunch, they're insanely generous with the perfect dodges against the Los Alphos, and the fact that they're being stingy on Big Boy is really frustrating. If a Los Alphos, like, twitches in your general direction, the game will let you perfect dodge it. In fact, the spit throws me off a lot. Because I use my bomb arrows, actually, I think the Gibdos are technically the easiest wave. But if I didn't have that, they certainly would not be. So, I don't know. I was about to say Los Alphos is the easiest wave. There's certainly the easiest wave in terms of waves where I am attacking them with my weaponry. That was dumb. Because there's just the one strong Los Alphos that sometimes spits at you, and he sucks. But aside from that, everyone else is easy to deal with. I know it's different in Japan, and this is a silly thing to complain about. I'm not blaming anyone for this. But you might notice that with the Los Alphos and the Moblins, whenever I'm talking about the most powerful one in the group, I just kind of call it the strong one, or the big one, or the powerful one. It's because I don't love saying, oh man, I don't want to get that black Los Alphos' spit on me. It's when you color the enemies like that, it's not super comfy. Now, when we're talking about this is a grisly place to take this conversation, but when we're talking about the body parts, it's a lot easier to say the black Moblin horn or the black Los Alphos horn, because in both of those cases, I mean, the Moblin horn is kind of yellow goldenish, but both those cases you can look at the item and be like, yeah, that item has black coloration to it. so it doesn't seem weird to call it that. And even then, if you're talking about a body part that's a horn, it feels like it inherently feels like you're talking about a monster. Whereas, like, I've been reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson lately, and I could very easily see, like, one of the fantasy humanoid races in that being called a Lizalfos or something. And because of that, I'm like, I don't want to differentiate how I don't like the black one more. That makes me feel really uncomfortable about the language I'm using. They're inherently more dangerous. They were bred that way. It's like, it doesn't feel good. I don't like having to specify what color they are, especially the color they chose to be the most dangerous one. And in fact, I'm looking back, I don't think that's even quite true with the bokoblins. Because technically I believe there is. Maybe there are with the other ones as well. They're just mercifully not in the army. But we fought. I mean, we skipped past. I don't think we actually fought him, but we did confront a white bokoblin, didn't we? And he had like insane amounts of HP, so we just left him alone. So I guess he was probably even more dangerous, and that does feel like it rings true. He looks goofy and lanky and silly, but he's actually the most dangerous and holds the most power, and because of that, you should hate him the most. Particularly when he uses that power to disadvantage others. It's not technically his fault that he has the most power, but a lot of times that power is not used for good, and in those cases, you gotta hold them accountable for that. This game's weird. Video games are weird. Coming up with fantasy races are weird. Even weird little pig monsters. It's weird when you get down to the brass tacks of how they work and how they're classified and organized. It's just... It inherently sometimes is kind of weird. Really? Where were you, man? You weren't? You had your sword the whole time, so there was no need for you to be off in the distance, shaking your fist at me or throwing rocks at me. But you apparently weren't with the rest of the gaggle, otherwise you would have been close enough to have died from that impact. So where was that guy up until then? Where's my water? Oh, I think I left it by the counter by the fridge because I meant to refill it and then I just forgot. That sounds like an insane thing to do, so let me clarify. A lot of times when I have drunken a full bottle of water, A, I would like to refill the water, but also, on a related note, that's around the time that I need to use the bathroom. And the kitchen is on the way. I'm going to die from that arrow. Holy shit, I didn't die from that arrow. Kitchen is on the way to the bathroom. So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. So I take the water bottle with me. I leave it by the counter by the fridge so I can refill it. But I want to use the bathroom. So I go do that first, and I'm like, okay, I'll come back and refill the water, and then in one smooth trip, I will have accomplished both the task of going to the bathroom and filling up the water bottle. And then I use the bathroom, and then I'm a fucking idiot, and I forget that I wanted to refill my water bottle, and so I just leave it in the kitchen. It's dumb, but it's dumb for a reason that makes sense, kind of. you please... I don't know why Link has started to not put his sword away when he's sprinting, but it's throwing me off because I have to press the attack button to unsheath it again. But if he already has it out... I mean, the solution is just pay closer attention to if the sword is out or not. But he should, by default, put it away, and sometimes he just doesn't. And then I accidentally swing instead of unsheathing the sword, which takes way more time and slows me down. You can see why this would be frustrating to one such as me. Like that. Didn't I just sprint for a couple steps? I'm probably not, but I pressed the sprint button and that should be enough. But because Link takes a whole 3/4 of a second to actually begin the sprinting animation, sometimes it's not enough. Oof. I am frustrated that I died to Colgera. It is my fault. I'm not angry at the game that happened. I'm mostly angry at myself, but I am still angry. Okay, this is right on the edge of do I take the spear out or not. I don't think so, because there's still that's a 3-horn with a shield, that's a 2-horn with a shield. Be good to try and knock that out of their smug hands, but... Be cool. Okay, I was gonna say it'd be cool to find a knight's broadsword at literally any point. Fuck you! Why do they always come in the blind spot, man? It's not fun.